Alright guys, welcome to part 2. So this is going to be about the details of how this template works. So I want to give you guys the ability to know the details without having to know the details up front. So you already know how to use it. I showed you that in the previous video. This is the details of how it all ties together. It can be confusing and I want to try to demystify it a little bit. So to do that, I'm going to talk about this side real quick. These are patches, each of these individually. This is a set. This is a concert. So the concert basically has some default settings that can then apply to the rest of these sets and patches. Now a set doesn't really have any big attributes other than it looks like possible time signature or tempo, maybe a color change, but that's about it. Now a patch can have lots of different attributes. And we can get into those later. I'm going to first talk about our concert. The way that we make this template a template is we have a lot of concert level settings. So I'm going to open up over here and show you our channel list. So I know this could be really confusing, but I want you to try to hold on for just a little bit and see what I have going on here. So all of these channels are concert level, which means that they will transfer to every patch. And now you can add channels for patches, but all of these are basically set. So, and what these actually are, these channels are called buses. You see that this has an input of a bus, which basically says, hey, I am bus 3, okay? So if we go into something like this, and I grab this channel is sending to these different buses. Alright? And it's also outputting to this bus. So it's sending its signal to that bus, or bus 10. It's sending its signal to bus 11. But its final output is bus 13. Okay? So let's go back and look at some of these buses, or these sends. 10, 11, 12. We saw all those. So what that is, it sends to the piano delay 1.8. It also sends to piano delay 1.8 dotted. So that's the dotted eighth delay. This is the eighth delay, dotted eighth delay. It sends to the piano shimmer, okay, which is also the reverb. And then it outputs to channel 13, which is, I've named it X, as in exit piano, which has its EQ on there, okay? So if a piano channel, if we create a piano channel, it's going to send to we're going to want it to send to these 3 buses right here, and then it's going to output to the exit bus, which I've created here. All right, and notice that each of these 3 buses here, they output to 13, which is bus 13, which is our exit. So the piano itself, if we go back to a patch over here, the piano itself, it sends to these different buses. It outputs to 13. All of these buses also output to 13, which is our final exit, okay? Let me show you a list of these buses real quick. I've tried to name them and space them so that it makes sense. So we've got, obviously a bunch of different buses. We're only using the ones that you see with the arrows. So I have the option to send this channel to all of these different buses. I've named them, though, so that they make a little bit of sense. You see we have pad. I've named them PD for pad, PN for piano, and LD for lead. So if you see a star, that means, hey, this needs to be a send. So I'm going to send to bus 3. If I'm a pad, I'm going to send to bus 3 and bus 4, and then I'm going to output or exit to bus 5 because I'm a pad. If I'm a piano, I'm going to send to 10, 11, 12, and I'm going to output, exit to bus 13. Okay? So by doing that, I get when I send to the 1/8 delay, I get the 1/8 delay. If I send the dotted eighth delay, I get the dotted eighth. And this is the same for the shimmer. And my output, my exit, is to the piano, which is where my tone control for the piano comes from, which is like that low cut and any kind of, if we did a high pass or a low pass, it's all being done in there. So that's kind of the details. I know it's confusing. You kind of just have to get in here to play around with it to understand. But let me show you now. I'm inside of a patch, and right here is my metronome channel. It's just like a default. It's always in there. To the right are all my concert level channels, and which in this case are all concert level bus channels, not just standard channels. Everything to the right or to the left of the metronome, these are patch level channels. So in this case, they're all pretty much sounds. Notice that the input, rather than being a bus number, the input is actually an instrument. In this case, it's the complete, which is one of the softwares that we use to get our different sounds. This one also is using complete, which is using a synthesizer in complete. This one is using what's called EXS24, which is a sampler. Anyways, these are all, you kind of got to get in the details to learn how they work, but you can see they're receiving from those instruments. Now, those instruments send to these buses, and they output to different buses, which are on this side, on the concert level, and that's where these effects are. So that's why I can have reverb. If I look over here, I can have my reverb and my shimmer and my high pass. I can have them apply to all these patches without having to create those channels over and over again, because they're created at the concert level and they always stay the same. Okay.